I wish I had some profound opinion on the Houston Rockets versus the referees stuff. I don't think I do, but I want to give my 2 cents on this anyway. I really just think it's a case-by-case basis. I mean, this one right here, I think it's safe to say James Harden initiated the contact because, I mean, just look at his legs. And you compare that to a 3 that he took in the second quarter, where there is still a little bit of sway, but it looks a lot more natural. And then if we look at the other one again, which we're going to see a couple times here, then, I just don't think it's really the same thing. And I guess the referees are deciding that if you initiate the contact as the shooter, then you're not going to get the call. I don't think that's ridiculous, assuming that the initiating to get the call is over the top, which I think this one is. Now, that being said, the ones on Klay Thompson I think are a little more debatable. Sure, there's an argument to be made about, well, Harden is still sticking his leg out or whatever. I mean, I think this one in particular is definitely a foul on Klay Thompson and is dangerous for James Harden landing. But still, a lot of this is up for interpretation, so what I may think may be drastically different from what somebody else thinks. Now, I guess another interesting part of all this is the idea of it's James Harden, it's the Rockets. These guys have kind of made a joke of the NBA officiating, and this guy's the best flopper / foul baiter in the entire league. I mean, yeah, all those things are true. Do I think that means that defenders are allowed to land underneath the guy when he's taking a three-pointer, which could result in him rolling an ankle or whatever? No. But still, there is a perception with the guy that I think is fueling some of the negativity that is going his way here. I also think the referees may be in on that a little bit as well, which is basically we're not going to let you BS your way to the free throw line, which I think is cool in certain situations, but again, the step back threes are just, they're such a weird thing, because there are certain players throughout the history of the league who I think are just way more difficult to officiate than others. Shaq, LeBron, and I think with this shot that Harden has now, he has entered that list. And I think it's fair to expect that sometimes referees are going to mess up on a time where it looks like, yeah, the dude clearly had a case to get to the line because the defender is too close to him or whatever. Or making contact with his lower body, I should say. But on the flip side, I think it's possible that they could mess up and they could call a foul on a guy that shouldn't have actually happened. So what is the resolution to all this? I don't know. Everybody just be a little better. Like referees get a little better at evaluating what's initiating contact and what isn't. Also, if you're Chris Paul, don't do this. Like, you're not allowed to ask for a foul when you stick your ass out this far on a shot, okay? We all agree that this is ridiculous. Anyway, now you're going to see me miss a bunch of step-back threes in 2K because I want to talk about the report that the Rockets, I guess they didn't technically submit, but they clearly made it known. I mean, Zach Lowe has the article. Him and Rachel Nichols were the two main ones behind it. So, I do want to say the article's like pretty well thought out. The way that they applied point totals to potential missed calls, and I liked the fact that they also did it for the Warriors as well, in terms of looking at potential fouls that the Rockets committed. There was one specific one with Steph Curry and Gerald Green that were not called, so it wasn't just them being like, well, you guys cost us this many. They also did it for Golden State as well, so they were pretty thorough in this. And I think this opens up a whole bunch of different avenues of things pertaining to NBA referees and how robotic are they, how robotic should they be. In a perfect world, they're calling everything 50-50, or they're just getting every single call right. That's, of course, never going to happen. Are the Rockets correct in what was towards the end of the article where the someone from Houston says, and I'm quoting the article directly now, the reason we are in this situation is the efforts made to improve the referees have been too slow, not extensive enough, and have been held back by entrenched referees who are resisting reform. In other words, according to the Houston Rockets, the old dudes don't want to adjust, in the sense of they have this vendetta against Houston, which is another thing in the article. The Rockets would suggest that older referees have a problem with the way the Rockets do their thing, right? The James Harden getting fouls, Chris Paul in a similar situation, the fact that the Rockets, maybe to the referees, have made themselves above basketball with the way that they've gone all the way over the top with analytics. That might be me reading too much into it, whatever. So, I think this is a good thing that this exists, because it's fair for teams to want the calls to always be right, and especially in a Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. So, I think it's totally cool to hold referees to a standard. I think it's also fair to ask questions about referees having extra motivations depending on the team and the player. I mean, those things have been out forever. If you do a bit of Googling, you'll know that back in the Tim Donaghy days, referees did not like Allen Iverson. Some liked him, some didn't, but I mean, that right there proves the human element of being a referee is very real. Now, the NBA has moved past those days, but the Rockets would like to suggest that they still have progress to make. And, I mean, hell, not even too long ago. I mean, I don't remember when Joey Crawford retired, but for how long? What was the story with Joey Crawford? Is like he makes the game about him more so than just the two teams, right? So it's very possible that his mentality could have carried over to the rest of the refs, because I'm sure they viewed him as a bit of a leader for them, and hoping that the NBA can just weed out those things, because I do think there's some validity to the concerns that Houston had. At the same time, do I think it's okay to yell at referees after every damn call? No, of course not. I mean, it is pretty funny. I mean, in part it's not funny. In part it's like, what the hell is going on right now? But in another part it's funny, because when you're watching a game, sometimes a referee will call something, or they won't call something for one team, and then players on that team are, you know, doing the whole, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, how are you even functioning as a human right now? And they'll do all this with a face that lasts 0.5 seconds. And then 4 seconds later, the other team will have this moment with the same referee. And I get it, it's heat of the moment, emotions and all that stuff. But it is possible to go too far with this. And while I don't think we're going to have some NBA versus referee Battle of Winterfell going on, this could lead to some sort of a tipping point. Whether I think we're going to have intern referees, I don't really think that's going to be a thing, especially with how much of a disaster that was in the NFL. But this is obviously a thing, because the Houston Rockets just said, basically, the old dudes suck and they have vendettas that shouldn't exist in the game. So, anyway, I have no idea what I just said throughout this whole video. This could all be nothing, but I don't know. I talk about the NBA damn near every day. This is the biggest thing in the NBA right now. So I figured that I would talk about it.